been, what is it, 18 years since we've met.
Yeah, so 18 years. I still remember very clearly.
Our relationship is going to university. It's graduating high school. For those of you who don't know, this is Master Samy Al Jamal, or Sami, as he likes people to call him. And apart from being an amazing human being, a huge inspiration to a lot of martial artists and fitness professionals overall, he's just a good man. I have the privilege of calling him a friend. We've known each other for a ton of years. And today, it's a privilege to be able to have this conversation. I think we've been through a lot of the ups and downs in our own separate paths, right? And today, I think a lot of people who are going through either the fitness path or the martial arts path, which they share some commonalities, discipline being one of them, they're going to encounter a lot of challenges along the way. And I think when we go through our careers, we get to a point where we're thinking, okay, I've endured quite a bit. And you listen to the young bucks going through and you go like, man, you should have, maybe you should have done this, maybe you should have done that. And today, it's how about we uncover some of the learnings you've had over the years, some of the things that maybe would help people. But before we get into that, what is the one thing about Master Samy Al Jamal, Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, martial artist, revered and renowned and so on, that people don't know?
First of all, man, thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's my pleasure.
You're one of those people in the industry that I respect, and some, and a lot of the times you inspire.
Oh,
yes, you're like a one-man soldier on a far, far away land, trying to make things happen. And trying to educate people. We're educating people here today.
True.
So
that's true.
All the respect to you.
Thank you so much.
To the work that you're doing for it. It's funny when the question is for me, about me, and when the question is how people perceive me.
Yes.
You know, so
that's what I want to break through, because they have this image, but there are certain things about you that they might find surprising, but you know what those are. So what would you like to share with them?
As far as attitude, definitely resilience. It's like I always say that, like I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 35 years.
Oh wow!
Or a bit more, and I think maybe at least 8 times doctors told me that I'll never fight again, and I can't fight. And
how come? Dive into that.
Different situations. Once my only operation was my shoulder. The doctor said this is basically for you to recover. I took like 5 centimeters of the chromium out, so I have no attachment between my shoulder and my arm.
Okay.
And 3 months later, I was fighting the biggest submission grappling event in the world, like the Oscars, which was ADCC. With having the recovery.
What's ADCC?
ADCC is the Abu Dhabi Combat Club, which was the best grapplers in the world from each type of grappling, like wrestling, sambo, judo, jiu-jitsu. They all go, the best on that country, they all go and fight.
Right.
Against each other based on the ADCC rules. And I went there as an Arab. So they had also the same tournament, World Championship, for all the Arabs that are born outside of Arab countries,
East, right?
Middle East.
Right.
So we had wrestlers from the States, you had sambo guys from Russia, We had African guys doing their type of grappling. We had Japanese judo,
Wow.
everything, jiu-jitsu from Brazil. And I fought and I won, you know.
No way.
Yeah, it was a big thing.
And that's 3 months after surgery?
3 months after surgery.
That's insane.
Shoulder surgery.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's like crazy hours of doing physiotherapy to strengthen those muscles, and then I ended up unbalancing the muscles from the front to the back. Damn. Then I had to do it again. It's a learning process. And one time I was very serious, was here in Jordan, like in the middle of nowhere. I was teaching the Special Forces, and I saw everything spin, and I never fainted in my life. I saw everything spin. I woke up with people talking to me. It started happening, these episodes, like 20, 30 times a day. And even I would wake up out of breath and faint. That was crazy. That was like one of the darkest moments of my life. I couldn't hear any sound, I couldn't hear any voice, I couldn't see any image. I stayed inside of a closed room, dark, for almost a month. So I couldn't hear anything, or I couldn't end up being wrongly diagnosed. I went everywhere. I went even to Hadassah in Israel to be tested. Wow. I went to the States, I went to Brazil, here. Nobody knew what it was. And it was a complicated mix of panic attacks with anxiety attacks that were really real. And I couldn't go down on the floor and do a move in jiu-jitsu, let alone fight. And that stayed like for a year, like this. And it was a very interesting process of learning and a process of discovering, learning and discovering, because nobody knows what it is. So how the hell are you gonna know what it is if you're not a doctor? And then I realized that I filled up a glass of water with stress, and I kept hiding the layers under and thinking that I'm okay, that I'm strong. And then my body one day said, you know what, man? I'm gonna give you a hit for you to stay home and sleep for 1 month, because this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work, man. We're gonna burn a fuse here very soon. And then I realized that I cannot just pour the water out and all the problems. I had to take one dot at a time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that took like 3 years. 3 years for me to be able to actually, I couldn't travel. I couldn't go into a plane, masalan, for example. I couldn't go into a closed room. I couldn't hear sound, any type of sound. I cannot go to a cinema, cannot go to anywhere. And then I said, there's no way in the world I'm gonna fight, you know. 3 years later, I went and I fought the world championship, and I fought the best guy in the world. And I tied up with him in the final, and I got second place. But I kept fighting until I won the world championship. And then after that, I won it 6 times. So from thinking that I thought I had a terminal disease that nobody knows about and only 5 people in the world have, and you cannot diagnose it, you know? Nobody knows, man. It's like all of a sudden I'm here like this, start flipping. I wake up flipping. I wake up holding the bed like this. So a lot of the things that some people don't know this, because I always maintain the strong, you have to be a leader.
Yeah.
You have to be a coach. If people are looking up to you, okay, you can have weaknesses, but the weaknesses have to be controlled and under management in order for you not to pass that on to your students, you know. So you have to stay strong. So probably this is the first time I say this on camera.
No way.
Yes.
Sounds like sabr.
Mm-hmm.
The patience and the trust in God, that it will inch to a resolution. Because for such a long period of time, I would imagine you've had a lot of existential questions going through, whether it's about jiu-jitsu or about any other role that we fill, because we don't just fill one role.
Yeah.
What about the husband?
Yeah.
What about the father?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about the son? And so on and so on and so on. And something like this has an implication on all of what we do. How did people react when you were going through those challenges?
I didn't let people know. I just disappeared. And, yeah, I just disappeared. And then when I came back, I was very careful. When I give the move, or wouldn't give a move, or I'll tell like my closest, highest level students to take over the class and just watch there. Because also I needed to be there to know to take the energy in from my students. It was the opposite time. It's not me giving the energy only, it's me absorbing the energy from them and the love. So every time that I would calm down, like for example, I could only sleep next to my kids in the middle of the bed. Nothing else would make me sleep. I would stay 2 nights awake. And then when I started feeling the love, this is what started that was actually my medicine.
Oh, wow.
That was my medicine. So people really didn't know what was going on. And it was tough as an existential, I am not stressed. This is something that people have to know. Like, I'm not stressed, but you're not stressed because you're hiding it somewhere, and there's no way the body is going to be able to balance and keep all that inside. You have to get it out, you know. And a very, very, very nice. I end up meeting a very nice mentor, a guide, and her name is Dina. She was explaining to me, Samy, you've just been giving as a coach for so many years. What have you taken in? I said, nothing. You dried out, man. You dried out like a raisin. So you gotta find a way to always balance giving and taking, and understanding that balance very well for you to be able to give more. Because you can't dry yourself out, you know. And then you know it yourself. You come from outside with a lot of knowledge. People are just hungry for that knowledge. So unconsciously, they one by bit, they take a little bit from each day of yours, or each of your minutes, and at the end of the day, you have no time for yourself. You know. And this, she also said something very interesting about the hats. So you. Husband, father, coach, competitor, business, you keep changing those hats over and over and over without actually having boundaries for them. So sometimes you're giving a move, boom, and you have to answer something to a client about the business, and then you have to go back and see somebody that might get injured, and you're like, all of a sudden you're a doctor, coach, and businessman. So being able to divide and understand every time when you have to change the hat is something very important for the sanity and for the growth of the coach.
This is, first of all, thank you. I didn't expect we're going to talk about this.
Me too. Like, you asked something hidden, I had to find it.
I'm curious about one thing, because I'm thinking about, you mentioned the cup and filling it bit by bit, to the point where it got so full it overflows. How does one recognize when those drops get added? And if you were to think back about your own experiences, what would be an example of a drop where, reflecting now, you would think, if I would have handled this situation differently in this particular manner. If I could go back and I would do it this way, I would just alleviate some of that accumulation that led to this episode of healing by complete disconnect, right? Because that's what it was. It was basically reality by I need some me time from everything, not just from one hand.
Yeah, all of it.
But from all of it.
Yeah.
Does one of those situations come to mind where you can clearly remember, I did this and then I took this action, but if I would have reacted somewhat differently, maybe that's an example, of course, it doesn't mean the whole thing. Because I think people have a hard time, and myself too, recognizing when those moments are actually happening, because we barely sense them. How would you go about recognizing those moments? And maybe you have an example of one you.
Yeah, I have. It's a very good question. So I'm gonna go deep here. I know your audience is smart enough to understand. So let's dig deeper here. First of all, and very important, strength in this point is kind of weakness. Because you have the strength to take it, but strength to take it and the strength to maintain the storage are two different things.
Right.
So I can take it, but I'm storing it.
Right.
And there's no way out.
Right.
The way out is how. So you're giving to people, you have to have people giving to you. Not because you're asking for it, but to create the balance.
Right.
Okay, so it's very important for you to create the balance. Now, knowing is very difficult because after the episode happened, I end up coaching many people of getting out of it because apparently it's something common. And
Really?
people get medicated here. I remember this, man. I remember this. I went to a doctor. He goes, "You have to take this." It was like retarded,
it numbs you down, right?
Numbs you down. He gave me, I don't take a single pill. I never did. I did. Recently, I started taking protein shake. So the guy gave me a pill. I took the first day. I took the second day. I took the third day. I felt complete disconnection to the world. Complete disconnection. The only connection that I had to the world, not even to my father, to my mother, to my wife, the only connection I had was to my son.
Wow.
Because of maybe the purity, the him being so vulnerable, such as a kid. And then I said, okay, man, what if I kill myself? What if I kill myself? I never thought about suicide. I said, I don't care. I don't care if I kill myself. So I went, I took it online, I read the prescription and what the side effects does to the, and like right at the bottom, very big. It may cause suicide.
Oh my God.
At the end, very small, it may cause suicide. And I went to the doctor. I said, man, you cannot give this to people if you're a professional. I want to kill myself. The guy said, no sense. I said, no, this is a sense. There's so much sense here that as a martial artist, I should come here and break your office. Because what you're using is you're weaponizing a medicine to make your work easier. And I left the office. And I said, you know what, man, I'm not gonna go to any doctor anymore. I had a bucket like this big of medicine. Every day I go, somebody gives me a medicine. I'm gonna work on myself. So you cannot notice. You can feel like stress a little bit here, but you can prevent it by the things that I learned how to use to prevent. First one is meditation. And it was very hard for me to find the right meditation. So the person has to find the right meditation for them. Some people use guided, some people go to the mountain, some people, it doesn't matter, whatever works for you. And for people not to get discouraged, it might last 1 minute the first time. It's amazing, 1 minute. Until you get to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. Before competitions, there's days that I meditate for 6 hours. 6 hours straight. I don't even know the time. I don't feel the time. I look at it, oh my God. So meditation is a very good antidote, because think about it. You're training your mind to be empty by meditating. The meditation part of it is for you not to be thinking of anything specific by thinking of something specific. I'll give you an example. So I'm looking, if I have to have a void of thoughts in my head for my brain to calm down. So we need to calm down our brain. How do we calm down our brain? So I have, for example, one of my meditations is I have a dot of water, very slow, hitting me on top of my head until my whole body is covered by that dot. So I'm thinking.
This is imaginary or actual?
Imaginary. So imagine it, and you breathe, and you keep looking at it, feeling it. So by focusing exactly on that, your mind doesn't divert to other things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that is how you empty your mind and you clear your mind. It won't happen the first month, second month. It will take a while, but you gotta believe and have faith on it. So I think that's something very important. Then other things that people don't understand the value when you say it, but the important things are the connection to nature. It's like connection to green, to sand, to water, you know. So like, I had a friend of mine that came to Jordan. They wanted to do like a Zen place, so I brought a Feng Shui guy to check what's the level of Feng Shui of Jordan. And the guy came out to saying that this is just above war zone. Yeah, because you don't have the water, you don't have the green, you don't have the walking, you don't have the nature, you don't have the touch. You're living in cement boxes. You're driving your car, you don't even walk because there's no paved road. So if you look at it, the stress is different than if, for example, you go to Romania, all green, you don't care, man. That view alone is the best thing in life. Because in reality in life, what you're working on is to live on that view. Even if you don't make that much money, you're happy, you're fulfilled. So being connected, taking your shoes off, man, go walk in the sand. Go touch the sand. Go get in the water. Go see the sea. Go see water. These are things very, very important. Go sit under a tree. It kind of like, it recharges the battery a little bit. 5%, 10%, that's a win-win situation. And then, how to avoid the stress, you know this better than anybody, having to be working on a service-oriented... How do you do that, man? How do you do, like, you get... Because the client comes in from outside to the inside with a problem. Everybody has a problem. And then it comes into you, and then you're all hyped up, you have to give that class, and your classes are all upbeat. So it's like they're all upbeat. So except when you try to...
There's a couple of things in there that I can unpack, but first, to add some context for you guys, because you're on meditation, and what you're describing there is called grounding. But I think nature is much more than grounding, frankly. I think nature is where our souls belong, literally. If you were to think about your husky, and you wonder what environment will it thrive in, and you think about those tundras, right, and the pack, and where it belongs, the environment that it belongs in. I think us as humans, our souls belong amongst the other creatures that got put on this blue marble. So grounding, though, to go back to what we found so far, I found out so far through science, people can resolve or can help resolve, maybe not resolve completely because there might be multifactorial problems, but they can help resolve insomnia, autoimmune conditions, digestive conditions, musculoskeletal pain, chronic inflammation, autonomic nervous system dysregulation through grounding. It's one element. I'm not saying it's a magic potion or magic pill. My mother-in-law thinks maybe I'm a bit crazy because I go to her yard and I just stick my hand in the dirt, literally. Yeah. Or I would be working and there's like this, like a wall about this big with a garden there and then pavement here. So I sit on that, on my laptop and do my work, but my feet are in the dirt.
Best office in the world.
Best office in the world. And I have in front of me some trees and some plants and some things. And it's still a house and there's still concrete. But I would dare you guys to do this. And I literally suggested that to people, you know. And the science is unequivocally clear that this is a major easy, but it's not popularized because if there's no company that makes money out of it, they won't advertise it. It's like water. Yeah. Right? Water is free, but they sell only the one in bottles. Nobody's advertising for the spring water. Nobody's advertising for the water at the tap. That doesn't, everybody's saying what? Buy this smart water. Yeah. You know, whatever else water. Anyhow. And on the meditation front, there are, what I can share is I've came to learn there are two types of thinking. You can call them slow and fast, or narrow and wide. And that our lifestyle today is very much focused on the go, and fast, and right now. You cannot be creative in that kind of state of mind. It's like you're trying to push an elephant through a keyhole, trying to solve a problem creatively when you're on the go, fast. And what meditation does is it provides access to that wide state where you can connect dots from opposing sides of the map through ways that are new, right? The scientists of old used to do this. They used to literally lie in a chair and hold a tennis ball. And they would stay there and they would think of an issue. But they would not think about it like the solution of it. They would just think of the issue that they're trying to solve, right? And they'll stay there until they'll be close to falling asleep. And as they were falling asleep, the ball would fall out of their hand. And as the ball would fall out of their hand, they would wake up. And in that state, sometimes solutions would be coming to their mind that they wouldn't have thought about otherwise. So the mental state that they are seeking is similar to the one that we're seeking now through meditation. Yeah. Right? One in which the mind is in a relaxed, flowing state where opposing sides of the brain can literally communicate and make sense of an issue in a creative way. Now, they used to do that to solve problems. We do that to help relieve ourselves from all of these stresses. And coming back to your question, I don't make my clients' problems my problems. And because sometimes it's very painful. In my line of work, we collaborate with doctors. I spend most of my day with clinical cases, whether they're athletes who are praying to go back to the court or the pitch or the mats, or a 90-year-old who wants to walk again. And you can see that they're going to make a choice that might not be good for them in your estimation. So I remind myself of two basic things. Everybody has the right to go right or wrong. It's their life. It's not mine. Even if they chose what I think would not be good for them. Whether that's being late, whether that's not getting committed, whether that's going for a specific other option, or whatever the case may be, or not doing anything at all. And the second thing is, what the hell do I know anyway? It's written. What's going to happen and what it's destined and so on, it's already there. It's already written, right? I'm personally a religious person. I find a lot, and I became more, the more stress I've dealt with, the more challenges I've had over the years, because you get humbled. You get shown that what you think you know is incomprehensibly small compared to the intelligence of the world itself, if not God. So taking a step back and thinking, I can only do my best, and that's it. And my best is limited. It's not infinite. Release is such a burden. Because right, man. Because as a person who has some experiences and studied and uncovered some truths and so on, in our limited capacity, you think sometimes when it works, dude, look at what I did. And I think one thing that I hope the youngsters will get out of this is to eliminate pride. Avoid it like it's the, I don't know what to call it, like it's Corona. Okay? Run away from it as best you can. Because I think it's one of our biggest foes. The moment one feels, it's incredibly wonderful to have that sense of humble pride of someone else you love because they've done something amazing, they've lived to a certain value, and you were like, yes, this makes me happy. That's happiness. Pride, the one that I'm referring to, is like, look at what I know. I'm the guy. That leads to your demise. There's no student that I've ever had in my courses that came with that attitude and passed the examination, or I've ever chosen to work with. They're the ones who complain that the exam isn't fair. They're the ones who wanted a discount. They're the ones who the exam, if they want to take it again, they shouldn't pay for it because they're special. Yeah. Right. And so you look at these people and you go like, or they're the ones who give bad reviews because they feel like they were unfairly treated. And you gotta wonder, well, hold on a second. What we did with you, we did with everybody else. We answered your questions. So pride is just something that I hope people can just let it go. Just don't, be happy, yes, be content, be grateful. Because you've had an experience, because you gained some insight, because you helped a person. But that doesn't mean you did it all. Because it's not like you chose every single event in your life. Like, I never chose to meet Sami. Yeah. I got to meet Sami. Yeah. I didn't come to Jordan and be like, listen, I'm going to meet this guy. He's there. On time X, on date X, on place X. I'm going to be right there. And I'm going to turn at 30-degree angle, because that's where his gaze is. And I'm going to go, hey, man, how you doing? And he's going to answer me, because I said so. And then in 18 years from that date, we're going to have an amazing chat on a couple of boxes in a gym that he built, talking about stuff that people have no clue about, that even happened. None of this was ever planned. So you can't take credit for it. And if you can't take credit for it, just be grateful that it happened. It's far better. And so stress is one thing that I think we put on our back, because also when you have that pride, you also have the expectation to always get it right. Yeah. We're not going to get it right. You're going to fail. And you better pray you have some good people around you to help you out, because it's going to hurt like hell. Whether you're a coach, or in business, or a parent. Parenting. Man, parenting. What the hell is the book for that?
I don't know.
What the heck?
That was a very nice twist from God.
Seriously.
I'll send you these little guys, but with no book to explain. No. You go on your own. Yeah. And have faith.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to find a way to get people closer to me. Yeah. I'm going to give them little ones so they can pray a lot. Not only for themselves, but not for these other creatures they don't understand.
You're not sure about God? When I send these, you're going to know that God exists.
Exactly.
The miracle itself, man, the miracle of a baby being born is crazy.
It's amazing.
I wanted to say something to you very interesting. We here, it's a martial arts gym, so we have some standards of to what we follow.
Okay.
And there's a book called Bushido,
Okay.
which is called which is the way of the warrior.
Right.
The translation for it, and it has it explains 7 things that should be part of your character, and one of them is being humble, which is the opposite of having pride.
That's wonderful.
So and I always tell this to all the people that think they're strong, they're unbeatable. I said, man, there's always gonna be a guy that's gonna come that's stronger than you, that's more fit than you, is more technical than you, that can submit you. So be humble, because pride creates problems in all areas. You're talking about your test. I talk here about if you don't want to lose because you have pride, you're going to put extra strength that is no needed because you're not using technique to get away from that submission. So first, your learning curve is going to be very small because you're using power over technique. Second, you're probably going to hurt the person that's training with you, and that person at one point is going to train hard because you hurt them, so you're going to get hurt. So it ends up pride, which is supposed to be self, it actually fires back at you in every single way, and there's no benefit whatsoever for it except for you to feed your ego. So we always say to people here, you always have to be humble, and you have to lead by example. You know, like I put my gi on, my 6th degree, and I go into the mats. If there's a coach teaching, I bow to him and I come into the mats, because you have to be humble. So that's one thing that I think it's very important, because the problem with pride is that it destroys every other good quality, if you think about it. So for example, if you have too much pride, it will destroy, for example, the idea of compassion. Why would you have compassion to a person if the focus is always into your direction? The light has to be on you, because you have pride, because you're the best, because you're untouchable. So you end up not seeing the people around you. So compassion is not even there, it's not even present. And if you do use compassion, it's to make up for the guilt that you're feeling by being proud too much. You know what I mean? So it's not even real. And I can give more other examples, but it affects every good quality you have.
It's so true. There comes a time when you're probably gonna, okay, this is a common problem, and I'm curious about your perspective. You have a set of values, you want to behave with your clients or your community a certain way, and you're at the beginning of that journey. So resources are scarce. But here comes the client who wants to work. In other words, here comes income. But this person is asking for things that you've not set out to give from the outset. Okay. And so you're in a situation where on one side, I need the income for whatever, whether it's for your own bread, whether it's for supporting your family or paying rent. But on the other hand, you're about to close a contract that you've said at the outset, I shouldn't go in that direction. An example is, I'm going to do my work in this environment, right? And I'm gonna, because I can be more efficient, and I can go into one place and have everybody, and I can see and I can manage. But this person says, I'll pay you, and even I'll pay you a bit more, but I need you to come to me, right? So it's a small example. It's not like you're breaking ethics or what have you, but it's an example. And you're in that conflict. How would Samy deal with that situation?
Now there's levels, huh? There's levels of this. There's things that I don't compromise, and there's things that I believe it's a service, and I have to be humble.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like I give a good example. When we broke up, I broke up my partnership with Vega
Right.
and my partner that we
Right.
split up. I had 25% of the business, and they said you have to stay in. I said I don't stay in a place where people don't respect or follow my process of thinking. There's no reason for me to be here. I'm not a trophy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm here to produce and to make fighters and improve the society somehow. So it was quite valuable, my 25%.
Of course.
You know, and I told them straight up, I said, you know my 25%? Take it. You know the name that I created? Take it. And trust me, whatever I'm losing, you guys are going to lose tenfold. And 1 year from now, you're going to call me and you're going to tell me, come back. Exactly like I said happened. I said, you guys now have a dead elephant. There's no way I can come and pick it up, a dead elephant. And I said, but you still have your percentage. I said, no, I don't. Percentage is yours, man. You need all the money you can get to get out of this. And then it never did.
No, they did. They closed.
Whereas if I have, for example, somebody that comes in as a client and he feels entitled to something, can be completely wrong. Completely wrong. I balance things out is being right here, the money is not an issue. Being right here doesn't matter. The concept of being right and keeping the rules and regulations of the gym stable and intact are important. But what's more important is that we're a service-oriented business. So I'm going to give that service to that person, and I'm going to try to educate them for this not to happen again. So it's a big compromise on my end because I'm going against the rules of the gym or the business. But I feel it's for something positive, specifically for you to create a community. So like at your house, with your parents, with your family, you have problems.
Yeah.
Blood of your blood. How is it somebody from outside? How can you create a community with that person if that person doesn't trust you in the bad situations, not in the good situations, you know? Good situations, you're taking care of a kid, he's learning jiu-jitsu here, blah, blah, blah. But then this kid gets injured here, which is something that can happen. It's a sport. At that moment, your action is what's going to create the community. And you have to compromise. Even if it's not your fault, you have to find a way to compromise. So I think you have to measure things, and this comes with experience. Unfortunately, for the new guys here, it comes with experience. It comes from podcasts, not trying to sell the podcast. Podcasts with people that have 30 plus years of experience, giving it to you without any extra fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
exactly.
clean.
Just good.
Yeah.
You know, there's one thing that I want to add to that, and I think, because it came to mind as you were saying it. There's this situation. I'm not sure if you know about this. Samy, you grew up in Argentina, right?
Brazil.
Okay. See what happened there?
Yeah.
He immediately corrected me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
In other words, we're wired. He didn't know I was going to do this.
Yeah. No.
So we're immediately wired.
It was almost like a punch.
You know, right?
Yeah, it's like asking somebody for Jordan if they were born in Israel. There's so much competition between them. If you said anybody else, I said, no, I was born in Brazil. But when Argentina, it hit the deep on the spot.
So, and we're wired to correct.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, because we're driven to when we know that something is false, we have this urge to correct it. One of the biggest superpowers that we can obtain is to resist the urge to correct.
Uh-huh.
Because if the person is wrong today, for us to be right just because they're wrong, that's exactly what you were saying right now. It eliminates the space to actually balance out the situation. The moment you knock them down, you can't go back and try to balance. It's like,
It's too late.
it's too late. It's too late. But there's this urge to simply correct.
Itch.
Itch.
I can't do
And you
it.
know,
Yeah.
the funny thing is that interrogators, like that keep witnesses in the right, and this guy did a crime, you know, by stabbing or whatever,
Yeah.
and then be like, look, I know you shot him. Then he's like, no, I stabbed him.
Okay.
Like, damn it. It's an exaggerated example, but I actually got it from a book. It's by Chris Voss, called Never Split the Difference. And it's about negotiations. And this guy is a hostage negotiator for the FBI. And this was one of the scenarios that he's describing of how do you dig out the truth,
Yeah.
right? This was one of those small little tactics. And I'm like, bloody hell, that's so right. That's so right. And it does come with maturity. And I think to come back full circle, it is powered by a bit of pride. So we take inevitably, us as humans will have an identity rooted in whether it's a bit of our country, a bit of our nationality, our family, some things that make us us. And we might not, what we're saying is it's okay to be proud of your nation. It's okay to be proud of your identity. And to own it and to represent it and to protect it and those who you share it with. It's a perfectly natural thing to do. And but the pride of I did this, me,
Yeah.
that's the one that you're referring to, isn't
Yeah.
it?
The pride that you're saying, the first example is from the outside.
Yes.
You're proud of something that's outside of you. You're not the second one. You're proud of something that's inside of you.
Yeah.
That you believe. Only
Yeah,
you
yeah,
believe.
only you believe it.
Only you
Only
believe.
you.
Nobody believes, because the only way that you get what's the word, validated,
Yeah.
is by people's opinions and what they think and how they perceive you. It's not how you perceive yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I read a very good book. I'm very bad with the writers' names, but it's about coaching, and it says something very interesting: speak less, listen more. That's like the title of the book. And once I started doing that, I realized, because the book says, and it has a lot of nice numbers, that the ability and the capacity for people to actually listen to you, fix them with all the knowledge and experience that you do, from the parenting to the coaching to the business, is like close to zero. Because it's not coming from them, it's coming from you, from your experience. So they might not understand, might not be ready, or at the same time, it might not just be for them. But when they dictate the rules and the progress of the game, and you just listen to them, they will come up with the best solution for themselves with your guidance. So I think that's what coaching is.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And it's coaching. I think coaching is revered as this. For some people, oh, you're a coach. For others, you're a business coach. What the hell is that? Because it still has the word coach in it, right? Mm-hmm. But in essence, what coaching is the art of communication.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. The art of, okay, let's engage, and try to understand each other. And the way to do that is what we call coaching. And what you said is extremely important, is the way of bringing out the answer from the person with the question.
Yeah. That's a golden rule right there.
That's the golden rule. Instead of you trying to say, oh, let me tell you what I know. Because, I know.
I know.
I've known already.
Yes.
Come to Papa.
Yes.
I shall impart on you my wisdom, child.
Exactly. You already lost them right there.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
already lost them. They don't
But
even, after that. Yeah.
Sure. Can I get my 5 minutes back now?
Exactly.
We can keep going on and on.
All day. For the whole year.
For the whole year.
For the whole year. So not even scratching the surface.
So this has been incredibly insightful. And it actually reminded me of a lot of things that, because we think about these things, but you get into the grit of it every day, and the meetings and the schedule, and you got to do this and you got to do that. That even the little wisdom we came to realize once in a while is kind of put away.
No.
I like to schedule these things like a 2-day getaway. Then, like the next one is next week. Family out, Dead Sea, 2 nights, come back, right? Because we forget. Time catches on, and you keep going and going, and a month turns into 2, into 3, into 4, into 5. Before you know it, you go like, what's next? What's next? What's next? It's like you're on cocaine or something of achieving and being and doing and schedule and second.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you. How often does Samy decompress?
So after the episode that I had, I realized that this is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So even on the crazy schedules, I have to find a way to decompress. And you have to find something that clicks with you that actually decompresses you. Because you're so sought out, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I try to stay out of social media. So I have some set rules. I try to travel so people cannot catch me, you know, because they'll catch you here.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people follow me to inside the bathroom to ask me a question, and I close the door and they knock at the door. Say, yeah, that's crazy. But it's that need for that fatherhood attention.
Guys, do not follow Coach Samy to the bathroom if you're listening. Just saying, don't do that ever with anybody.
So I think traveling is one of the best ways of decompressing, because everything is new, you know. It's like your brain is like on fire. It's like
alone or with family?
Both. For the first, most of the times with family, but also sometimes. But I end up when I travel with my fighters to martial arts events, to MMA fights, with jiu-jitsu fights. There is a lot of time that I have time to be alone because they're cutting weight. So I feel like that's an alone.
That you kind of tick that box as well.
Yes, I tick that box. I really like it, and taking time to yourself to do small things, basically, is what ticks me. You know, I have the hobby of cooking, for example, and
at the Black Belt Chef on Instagram.
Yes, and that's my passion. I love like when I do like these huge meals. People come to the house, man, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, but on the contrary, I want to see you putting that on the mouth and understanding your brain clicking and understanding what I was thinking when I made that mix.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So they go hand to hand. That's really cool. When I used to be a restaurant owner and a chef, my decompression was jiu-jitsu. You know?
And now they flipped.
They flipped. In Brazil, nobody knew I was a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
No way.
No one. And from the restaurant business. And here, nobody knew that I can actually cook.
I was shocked.
Yes.
I had no clue.
Yes.
I had no clue. And then all of a sudden, a different kind of, hold on, that's not a gi. What's going on? You still like do that, but
Exactly.
It's not a gi.
Funny, one of my students, like we were doing a shoot, and I was like decorating the plate like this, my fingers,
right.
all broken fingers from jiu-jitsu, and then they're going, Coach, how can you decorate a plate and choke people at the same time? And it's functional for both. I said, not as much functional, but it's interesting for you to be so delicate at something and so rough as something else, and be happy with both of them. I think to me that's a perfect
That's a beautiful way to balance your energy, right?
And we cut weight so much. Let me just add this. We cut weight so much all our lives. I've been cutting weight for 35 years. And right now I'm in weight cut for a competition in November.
Right.
As age,
it
better
takes
than
longer.
But it takes forever. 70% of your body is water. It's like you can't get. So, but just kidding. It's 55, but it's still a lot. So I love cooking to kill that sensation that I want to eat a cow,
Okay.
So by the time that you finish the cooking, you smell the food, you have the sense on the palate, it calms you down.
Really?
Yeah, so I use it also as meditation when I go and I do like very complex process of preparing the food.
You guys need to check Sammy's. I think he's like the Picana. I don't know what to call it. King, definitely king. Like the meat looks so amazing. It's just unreal. Definitely check that out. And it comes from a place of real. That's what I appreciate about you, Samy, a lot, and it inspired me as well when I was thinking about how do I. Because there's this pressure of coming online and being in front of people. What are they going to see? Which face, which role, which hat?
Yeah.
Right? Is that a new hat? And the beautiful thing is that I think one of the games that we learn over the years is to get rid of them. And that there's fewer hats to wear. We just get better at using them rather than being so worried about exchanging them. So when I'm here, I'm just there's no difference to me in us having a chat and doing this. I just picture that's like Marwan, that's like Jenny, and here's Abdullah or whatever. Ahmad is over there. He's doing his thing. And they're just people, and we're just talking, and hopefully they get something out of this.
No, this is actually better because nobody interrupts us, and we actually have one quality hour of talking with each other.
That's true.
How many times we had that in 17 years? Maybe once or twice?
Man, it happened once.
Yeah.
It happened once, and it happened after you opened this place.
Yeah.
And we met when you had a chat in your office, and then I taught a few classes here, and that was that. I want to thank you so much for today. I think it's been an amazingly valuable experience, not only for me, but I think for everybody watching. It went for far longer than I thought we would tape this first episode. And I'm glad that it did, because there's just so much to unpack and unfold. I would urge those that watched and listened to you to go back and do it again. And this time think about their own context and reflect a little bit more on the big part of how do we actually balance, because that was the theme of what you were sharing.
Yeah.
How do you even recognize that balance? Do you know what goes on either side of that scale? Is there anything going on the other side of that scale, or is it just one that's being filled up? I don't think we don't get taught that in school. We don't get that taught in university either. And then we are thrown into life. You just gotta make it work. It's like learning to swim by not drowning, that kind of approach to learning. And we kind of come up with our own way to survive the madness. Never really embrace a way of the warrior, so to speak, because it's not something that we get exposed to. Now you need to work. Then, hold on, you gotta get married. So build that house, put money aside, Then you got married. Now you're a responsible man or woman.
Have to have kids.
Now you have to have kids. Hold on, kids. Kids come, don't sleep. Okay? You need to deal with this stuff without sleep for 3 to 6 months. All right? That's the trial. It's like you're an emergency surgeon going through training. And after that, hold on, they might fall and break. You got to become a doctor. Okay? Where's your first aid kit? Do you have every medicine? And life just keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And before we know it, I have some diabetes, hypertension, and I'm a bit overweight, my back hurts. But my work is okay. Finally, I'm a bit more stable, and kids are not dead. So I'm okay so far. And we reached that when we're 40. And we look back and like, what the hell happened in the last 20 years?
Exactly.
So that balance equation, I think it's something to reflect on. And hopefully you guys will get little nuggets from Samy, because I mean, I got a lot out of today for myself, and I hope. And one thing, if you're considering the time you spend on this and the time that it will take from others, which I do. I'm thinking if I put time aside for me to do something for 2 days, that means I'm not gonna do, because I say no to something else, right? If I said yes to this, I'm gonna say no to something else.
Yeah.
I'll say no to maybe a workshop or a project, or time with my son, or time with the family, or time with my students or clients, or whoever else needs something from me, or I would want to be in their company too. And that was a lot of the times the reason why you would put things to the side for you, because you're thinking, haram, it's a pity. My son didn't see me for the last week. Let's spend time with him. And yes, you can do that, of course, but it gets postponed. And I think this, if there's one point that we're stressing today, is is just take the time. You'll be better off for it. You'll be much better off for it.
Let me close this up like this. So we try to find, I'm going to look at the camera, stability in life by not being stable. So what we want in life is actually to have to be financially independent and like at least like secure, right? And then we try to get to that without being stable, going all over the place, pushing your body to the limits. Whereas like Napoleon Hill, it's one of the greatest books I've ever read. Read it many times over. He says that the number one wealth that you have is health. Then other things come. I think money is like on the top 10, but it's not even close to the top 5.
Right.
So if in the process we lose our health and then we don't have the stability to reach stability, how can you reach it? So basically you're running in the same place or sideways, but you're never reaching that goal. And I'll close it with, I think that's what he said, Mr. Miagi in Karate Kid. So Mr. Miagi goes, Daniel-san, balance. You need balance because you work too much, no have life. You have too much life, no have money. You need balance, Daniel-san.
No way.
Yes.
I love that. See you in the next one, guys. Samy, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.